And he deserves it. He deserves it. For the past 16 months, Bobby has run an extraordinary campaign for President of the United States. I know, because he also went after me a couple of times. I didn't like it. And I mean this sincerely. Had he been allowed to enter the Democrat primary, he would have easily beaten Joe Biden, but they wouldn't let him in. They put up rules. I've never seen rules like you had to have 65% of the vote in order to run, you know, little things like that. His candidacy has inspired millions and millions of Americans, raised critical issues that have been too long ignored in this country, and brought together people from across the political spectrum in a positive campaign grounded in the American values of his father, Robert Kennedy, a great man, and his uncle, President John F. Kennedy. And I know that they are looking down right now, and they are very, very proud of Bobby. I'm proud of Bobby, you want to know the truth. And I don't think I've ever introduced anyone that got applause like he just got. I must tell you, I don't think it's true. I don't think I've ever introduced anybody that got applause like that.
He's a great guy. He's a good human being, and he is fair. And he's sensible. I'm so happy to have him being a part of the Trump campaign. It's the Lady Ranger. God bless these two together to get this race conquered.
Soon after I was, I can't even believe I have to say this, nearly assassinated in Pennsylvania last month, Bobby called me to express his best wishes. He knows firsthand the risks incurred by leaders who stand up to the corrupt political establishment. When you stand up, you bring on some trouble for yourself, but you have to do what's right. You have to do what's right for the country. I will tell you, we are both in this to do what's right for the country. That's one thing I can tell you. He lost his father and uncle in service to our country, and Bobby himself was subject to repeated threats to his safety during the course of his campaign, while being denied protection by the Harris-Biden administration. And this is a tribute in honor of Bobby. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts.
Fantastic.
And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
Wonderful.
And they will also conduct a rigorous review of the attack last month. But I tell you, I have never had more people ask me, please, sir, release the documents on the Kennedy assassination. And we're going to do that. And I also want to salute Bobby's decades of work as an advocate for the health of our families and our children. Nobody's done more. Millions and millions of Americans who want clean air, clean water, and a healthy nation have concerns about toxins in our environment and pesticides in our food. That's why today I'm repeating my pledge to establish a panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and childhood diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more. We want every child in America to grow up and to live a long and healthy life. So I just want to ask Bobby to speak for a little while. I'll stand aside. I'm going to stand aside. But I can only tell you, I've known him a long time. We've been a little bit on the opposite side of the equation, but I will say this, he is a brilliant, I still think of him as young. He's not that young.
He looks young,
I
and
always
so
call
do
him
you.
young, but he's not that young. But he is a phenomenal person, a phenomenal man who loves the people of this country as much as anybody can love the people of this country.
I love him.
So, Bobby, please say a few words. Thank you very much.
This is Lady Ranger. So happy to catch this tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you. Now, a few hours after his assassination attempt at Butler, I got a call from a safe food advocate named Kelly Means, who's been fighting for many years to try to end the corruption at CDC and FDA and USDA. And these institutions, these regulatory agencies, are actually run by the big food processing companies, the big ag and the chemical companies that they're supposed to regulate. And he said to me that he'd been advising me for many years and on my campaign. And he told me that night that he was also advising President Trump. And he asked if I would talk to President Trump. And I said, of course. And about a few minutes later, I got a call from the president. And we talked. We had a very good talk. And then he invited me to come see him the next day. And I went to Minneapolis and saw him. We met again a couple of weeks later in Florida. And we talked not about the things that separate us, because we don't agree on everything, but on the values and the issues that bind us together. And one of the issues that he talked about was having safe food and ending the chronic disease epidemic.
Health is the most important for the Americans.
Our children are now the unhealthiest, sickest children in the world. Don't you want healthy children? And don't you want the chemicals out of our food?
Definitely.
And don't you want the regulatory agencies to be free from corporate corruption?
Absolutely.
And that's what President Trump told me that he wanted. He also told me that he wanted to end the grip of the neocons on U.S. foreign policy. He said he didn't want any more $200 billion wars in Ukraine, that we could use that money back here in the United States. And the safest, the best way to build a safe America is to rebuild our industrial base and rebuild the middle class in this country. And don't you want a president who's going to get us out of the wars and who's going to rebuild the middle class in this country?
There's only one guy that's going to do it. And it's not that woman.
And he told me that he wanted to end the censorship, because the whole basis of American democracy is the free flow of information. And we know that a government that can silence its opponents has license for any kind of atrocity. And can you think of any time that you can look back in history and say that the people who were censoring were the good guys.
I
They're
know.
always the bad guys. Because it's always the first step down that slippery slope to totalitarianism.
Exactly.
And don't you want a president who's going to protect America's freedoms? And who is going to protect us against totalitarianism? And I want to ask you again, don't you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease?
So true.
And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
I love it.
Thank you all very, very much.
And
God
you
bless
are
and
the
God
root
bless
to
America.
getting that done for us, Bobby. I just love him. I'm so glad that they can work together. It just goes to show you.
Wow, that was something, huh? That was something.
It's the truth.
Fantastic guy. You know, he did well, and the polls are good and all, but you have to remember we have sort of like a two-party system. It was designed that way, and it's awfully tough. And as well as he did, he'd be at 10 and 15 and 16 points sometimes. That's a lot. That's a lot. But if he were in a regular system, like as a Democrat or perhaps as a Republican, but not against me, of course. But if he were in a regular system, there are a lot of people that maybe liked him the best, but they said, we can't vote. So with all of those votes he was getting, here's a lot of votes that he could have gotten. I think he's going to have a huge influence. We're leading now, but I think he's going to have a huge influence on this campaign. Actually, much bigger than you'd see in the polls, and those numbers are big to start off with, but Bobby and I will fight together to defeat the corrupt political establishment and return control of this country to the people.
Kamala is nothing but an
And
Obama.
to all who supported Bobby's campaign, I very simply ask you join us in building this coalition. It's a beautiful coalition in defense of liberty and safety, prosperity and peace. It's going to be an incredible coalition, and the relationship has been so good for so long. I have no doubt it's going to work and work well. But we have to win. We have to take our country away from these people that are going to destroy our country. We won't have a country left. So thank you very much. We need your vote. As you all know, this week the Democrats held their convention. You probably saw it, their party.
You call that a convention?
The media says the big message from their convention was that we need to turn the page from the failures of the last 4 years. Do you believe it?
They're so
They
phony.
forgot. They've run it for the last 4 years. She was saying last night,
Hypocritical.
we will stop the abuse. We will stop the high taxes. I said that you could have done it 3.5 years ago. In fact, you could leave that nice auditorium that you're in and go to the White House right now. You want to have a strong border? All you have to do is say to the incredible Border Patrol, ICE, law enforcement, close the border now. You don't need bills. I did it. And we had the best border in history. Put up that chart. Put it up. That chart. I love that chart. I love that chart. Put it up. But I love that chart. Not everybody realizes, but that chart is very meaningful. Even beyond the numbers that are on the chart, it shows the least numbers of illegal immigrants pouring into our country. Again, prisons from mental institutions, terrorists, where the bottom arrow is. But you know what? That chart is meaningful in many ways. Some people understand what I'm talking about. I love you, darling. I love you. I'm going to sleep with that chart tonight, Deb. I'm going to sleep with that chart. But isn't that a beautiful sight? Look at that. Look at that arrow. And then look what happens when that was my last week in office. And look what happens after I left. It's like a rocket ship. Look at that. Isn't that terrible? No vetting, no checking. We have no idea who they are. They just pour into our country by the millions and millions and millions. We need to turn the page of 4 years of calamity and failure. They have had calamity and failure, and say, Kamala, you've done a horrible job. You've been the worst vice president in the history of our country. Kamala, you're fired. You're fired. Get out. Get out.
The worst thing about the convention last night is what they didn't say. And they missed so many issues. And it was...
She's the only person ever to get a nomination of a party without getting one vote. She didn't get one vote.
They put on a music show at the Democrat convention last night. That's what it was all about. They had to get the best musicians to make them look good.
Costing the typical American household $28,000. Think of this, higher prices. It was inflation, $28,000. As border czar, she flooded America with savage illegal alien criminals who have been raping, pillaging, and killing our cities and our towns. 3 years ago this week, she was the final vote on the catastrophic Afghanistan withdrawal. And we were withdrawing, but we were going to withdraw with dignity, with grace, and with strength. We would have been out faster, but we were going to keep Battleground. But that was the most embarrassing event in the history of our country, leading to horrific war and humiliation all over the world. When Putin saw that, he invaded Ukraine. It brought a lot of people back because they said the United States is run by incompetent people. The United States is no longer respected. It's no longer strong. That's what they said. A lot of these things that you're seeing now wouldn't have happened except for the horrible, horrible event of Afghanistan. You know, I was dealing with the leader of Afghanistan, Abdul, and I said, Abdul, you can't kill our people. He was killing our people. I had a strong talk with him. I'm not going to get into it exactly. We went 18 months without one soldier being sniped at or shot at. Not one soldier injured or killed. And then we had
That's what you do best, Trump.
Where we did probably 10 or 12 million more votes than we got the first time. You know, most presidents don't get as many votes the second time because people get bored, but they don't get bored with me. They get bored. No, they get bored. Like Barack Hussein Obama got far fewer votes the second time, and he won. He won. Have you heard of him, Barack?
Oh yeah,
Hussein
he's the
Obama.
same thing as Kamala.
Rush Limbaugh.
There is no
Barack
difference.
Hussein Obama. He was nasty to me. You know,
I believe
he was
it.
nasty. Michelle was nasty.
Oh God.
They're all nasty. Nasty people. They were very nasty. I was surprised. I thought he was, and I was sort of nice to him. I said, no, you know, I like him. Good. It didn't matter. They were nasty to me. And, of course, last night, Kamala mentioned my name, I think, 21 times. She didn't mention the border. She didn't mention inflation. She didn't mention anything but my name over and over and over again.
Exactly. She wasted a lot of time not getting to the issues and pointing
She
finger.
blamed me for the border. I haven't been there in 4 years. You saw it. I had the safest border, the best border we've ever had. She blamed me for the border. They lied so much. They lied about everything. She said I was involved with something called Project 25. I don't even know what the hell it is.
They make it up. They need something to go against you. They
No,
make
they
everything
really were
up.
nasty. And then they say to me, sir, please stick to policy. Don't stick to personality. You should be nice to people, sir. You have to be nice. I call them up. My geniuses, they get paid a fortune. Actually, not that much. But I call up my people. I say, they're knocking the hell out of me, and you say I shouldn't get personal. I have to get personal, don't I? I have to get personal.
You don't have to take that crap from them.
They get personal. But I'm going to do my best. So they're allowed to get personal with me, but I'm not allowed to get personal to them.
They're one-sided. They're
They call me names that are
absorbed.
so bad. Our great First Lady says, but you're not that way, darling. They love our great First Lady, I will tell you that. They do.
How could they
But
not?
darling, you're not that way. I said, I know that. And if I say something just slightly out of order, like, she didn't do a very good job last night, please never ever mention look or anything like that. If you ever say, she didn't look really great, that's the end of your political career, so I wouldn't say a thing like that. How about her opening where she said, thank you, 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 thank you. I said, what the hell is wrong with her, Deb? Debbie Lesko, she's a winner. Is that Sheriff Joe? Oh.
This is terrific tonight. This is terrific. Tell them like it is.
That's Sheriff Joe. Look at that. A legend. You know, Sheriff Joe's looking at these clowns where they have no idea what they're doing, where people come in by the millions. He had nobody come in. Remember, he dressed everybody in pink. Remember that, right? Is that right, Joe? They had to dress in pink. I mean, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't bad. I mean, you know, you got a lot of killers that had dressed. But pink underwear, pink undershirt, and a pink outfit. Because he didn't want them coming into our country. Do you remember Arizona when Sheriff Joe was at the border? You didn't have people coming in. I think for the 1 year he had one person come in, but they got him. Now we have 3 million people coming in through your border. Oh, through the whole thing. It's ridiculous. It's not. Joe,
Okay,
it's
get
an
with the
honor.
program
I'll tell you,
another time.
people didn't
This is the
treat
Lady
you like
Ranger.
you are a legend,
Over
you did
and
the job
out.
like
Go Trump.
nobody